Hi, I'm Yasmin Owusu, and this is my producer, Charlie Kesenek.
But I'm your husband, and you're using all my stuff right now. What are you talking about?
So anyway, I've been looking for a one-stop shop podcast for wellness, amateur sociology, psychology, pop culture, and whatever else sparks my interest. So I created one. We are limited to no lanes. We hit the gas and get into it. This is Piqued. Press play.
Here's your host, Yasmin Owusu.
I feel like I need to do something like Zany or crazy. Charlie, tell us a little more about yourself.
Hi, I'm Charlie.
Okay.
I feel like it came out of nowhere.
Hi, I'm Charlie.
Hi.
You put me on the spot with your host, Yasmin Owusu. I felt like I had to juggle or something.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I'm Charlie Kesenek. I'm your husband. How do you not know this? I'm just kidding. Okay. So yeah, I'm Yasmin's husband. I'm Charlie Kesenek. I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter. I'm a drummer. I play some piano, some guitar. I teach music lessons. I'm talking with my hands. I don't know if the camera's getting that.
Mm-hmm. It looks exhausting to me right now. I can barely move my arms.
But yeah, I'm a music person. Yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah, he's an American boy.
Who are you?
He's from Boston.
I'm from Boston. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, I feel like that's
love my hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of important, right? I'm a very Bostonian person with very Midwestern parents, so it's kind of an interesting
converges. Hybrid. Yeah.
Yes.
He's feeling at home here in Texas where we live because there's a lot of Germans here, and Charlie is a German extraction, among a couple of other things. I think like English and Welsh, right? There's not a whole lot of that in Boston, I wouldn't say.
No.
It's
no
like
Germans.
Mostly white people wise, like Irish Catholic, Greek, Italian even.
There were a lot of Greeks,
a lot of German.
Italians, some
Armenians. I'm half Armenian. My mom is actually a Watertown Armenian as well. There's a lot of Armenians in LA. Is it California in general or just LA?
I think mostly LA.
Just LA. Yeah. And then a bunch in Watertown, Massachusetts. And that's kind of like the two areas outside of Armenia where there's like
huge.
A Chingo de Armenians.
Chingo de.
Yeah. My mom is born and raised in Massachusetts, but I'm not. I was born in Cambridge, but I was not raised there. My third culture, so I grew up moving every 3 years, mostly in East Africa. Yeah. But Charlie is born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Cambridge as well, technically.
We were born in the same hospital.
Yes, and it has nothing to do with why we met.
I know.
At all.
It was written in the stars.
Yeah, Charlie is 6 years younger than me, and then we also met in New York City at a taco job. So just a coincidence that we happen to have some of the same, I was going to say derivation again. I can't do this. Why am I being pretentious when I'm tired? Like you would think like my language would get more simple. It's really a wild move to eat nothing and play tennis and then decide this is going to be my first podcast episode. Let's go. But we're here and we're going to do it.
There we are.
And our topic is going to be mind and or matter. And we will explain. Charlie will explain.
I will explain.
I'm kidding.
Great.
Can you imagine? Just outsource the whole thing to you. No, our topic is a result of a lot of conversations we've had about our feeling that maybe there's a dogma around the physical world and people who want to just keep to what can be seen, touched, smelt, or heard or measured, categorized, all of it.
Right.
And then how much we want to incorporate and allow the metaphysical, the uncertain things you can't see or you can't measure by our man-made measurements, first of all. And just like all the different ways that comes up in our lives and culture. And the zeitgeist, there's so many areas you could bring this into. You could bring this into entertainment, how people make art, sports. And I just think there's such a huge plethora of directions we can go in that conversation. Charlie, what is on your mind or on your nerves this week before we dive in?
On my mind is Sly Stone. Rest in peace.
Damn.
We're recording this podcast the day after he passed. And yeah.
69.
Yeah.
6'9".
69. What's that?
Well, he died on 6'9", no?
Oh, he died on 69.
Okay, I probably should have.
I was like, fucking what?
What an absolutely unhinged thing to say. Like, out of context.
Oh my God.
A man is dead. He died on 6'9", and he was a funky, cool guy. And I just thought maybe, that's
understood. Summer of 69, he played Woodstock. It's all coming together.
Thank you.
I mean, that's all. That makes that almost make sense and be interesting. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm not going to cut that out.
Well, anyway, Sly was a huge influence. Is a huge influence on me as just like a cultural figure. Obviously, as a musician, he's the namesake of our dog, who we love.
Yes, who's so passed out over there. I want to turn my camera to it, but I better not. I won't be able to find the angle.
Do it. Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah. Absolutely tremendous musician, creator of some of my favorite albums ever. And also like a really... we were watching his documentary yesterday, the one Questlove did, whatever.
DJ Questlove.
Whoever that is. And yeah, I thought one thing that was really stood out to me, because also, as we talk about this, the 2025 LA riots, the next edition of the LA riots is going on. And I'm thinking, Sly has an album called There's a Riot Going On, and he was a very important figure, at the tail end of the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And the Black Panthers apparently approached him. Stand. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. All that. So, one thing I thought that was interesting watching that was how he's like, kind of like, he's beyond political. He decided not to. The Black Panthers approached him for money to support their cause, and he kind of asked them like, why, explain why I should give you money. And I just think like his music kind of always goes, he stayed outside of it in a way that is not like avoiding it. He spoke directly to what he believes people needed, how they needed to be and how they needed to.
Yes, he engaged.
He engaged, but he didn't engage in a directly political level, which I think is really meaningful to me. I think the problem with politics is not in politics. It's in ethics and how people treat each other. And I think his music really embodies that in a way that I didn't even fully realize until we watched that documentary. So.
Yeah, his body of work, and also the way he just carried himself as a figure, right? The spirit of him.
Yeah, seriously.
There are these certain artists, whether they're in music or other areas, where their work is so important, sure. But I think also what they mean in our culture, and just that Black joy he brought, there were a lot of, there's some subject matter in his songs that was difficult or harsh, but always played with just joy and that feeling of like expansiveness and like galvanization. And even just who he brought together on stage, right? The integration in his band at a time where that wasn't really that common at all. And then also just the different, he had women in his band, which was also not common at all. So it's like all of it kind of converges in just a guy who was really able to galvanize people and incorporate joy into difficult conflicts. And right now in this time, it felt really, it felt deep poignant. Listening to that. And watching that,
like you'd be hard pressed to find more joyful sounding music. I think, like some of the, it's exultant.
Yeah, you feel that na 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 na.
Exactly, it's amazing.
Yeah, so 69,
and that's why 69.
Crazy unhinged thing to say. I still can't get over it. What's on my mind?
Your mind?
69,
Yasmin,
apparently.
Host of my topic. 69.
Yeah, what's on my mind is I love a little bit of local nonsense. And
talk to me.
There's so I be TikTok brain rotting. Like it's my thing. I love it. I get into it. I don't post. I lurk. I'm one of those. I'm a really old millennial, and I just can't get into the posting part of it. I'm not going to do a little dance, but I do. I watch. I'm lurking. And there's this woman. We live in Austin, Texas. There's this woman who posted. I saw her stitches before I saw her actual video, to be clear. But she apparently posted a little review about what happens to be our coffee shop.
Right.
We used to live really close to, like 5 minutes in a car from it. And now we live more like a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
If that. I mean, negligible. It's still our coffee shop. It's super close.
It's our neighborhood.
It's our neighborhood. We drive by everything that she was driving by every single day.
Yeah.
And for context, we live in East MLK in Austin, which
East
is
Austin. Yeah.
It's East Austin, and historically Black neighborhood. You know, there's areas of East Austin that are more Latino, like East Cesar Chavez was historically that, but I would say East MLK was mostly Black. And if anyone knows anything about Austin history, it was redlined, segregated by a highway purposefully, like, and that's the whole history. And it's kind of had this rapid gentrification thing going on, half gentrification.
Yeah.
So there's $1 million houses here, and then there's like shacks that we're not sure have running water, and you know, there's people riding horses down the street, while also, you know, people have pickleball courts. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Austin in general. I kind of I don't like rapid and aggressive gentrification. That's nuts. But I do like there's some lack of cohesiveness a little bit, even just in people's styles of houses. Like you'll have like a Spanish house next to like gentrification skinny number house next to, I don't know what some people are doing with the menageries on their lawns. I mean, it's just kind of whatever, right? Keep Austin weird.
Free for all.
Yeah. Someone had a pig. I don't know. There's a lot going on. That being said, wow, tennis brain. This lady, the first thing she said getting out of her car was like, this neighborhood's sketchier than I thought, or a little sketchy or something like that. And then she's like, but the boho California chic coffee shop is really cute. And then she goes on to like describe the matcha as mid. I don't know what she wants. Ceremonial grade matcha for like $3. Anyway, she got eaten up. Online by people just being like, oh, real sketchy. And she had zoomed in on a piece of graffiti that was on a wall of a vacated business next to this coffee shop called Palomino that said, I think, what's his name? Greg Abbott and Trump.
Are we not allowed to swear on this podcast?
I'm not sure. I think I already have, but I don't know. Something felt aggressive about it in that moment. I just I sidestepped. Sometimes it feels satisfying. Sometimes it feels like so unhinged, right?
I know.
But anyway, so she zeroed in on that right when she was saying the neighborhood was sketchy. And I was like, and there's also like a little smiley face with a cowboy hat. And I was like, okay. We live in Austin, but we've never seen graffiti. We've never seen stench. We've all seen stench, right? But anyway, so she got eaten up alive, and people just being like, you don't understand, like, there's like $1 million houses here. Like, and it's sketchy. Why? Because you saw a Black person across the street. Like, I don't know. What are you defining as sketchy, right? Yeah. So she almost more or less got doxxed and had to delete a bunch of stuff. But then she came out with a non-apology apology.
Right.
By the way, we went to the coffee shop and we made that sketch joke to them like the same day. And they said they'd had 3 times as much business, and everyone had kind of been joking about it. So, you know, they came out on top, as Palomino should. They're a great coffee shop.
Yes.
But her non-apology apology was insane. And her just being like, I wasn't saying that, you know, it's a sketchy neighborhood because of the ethnic people. I know that it's a historically Black, blah, blah. And if you don't know, and she started lecturing us as though we're the ones who are ignorant about the history of the place. Girl, you did not know the history of the place. You got out of your car. We find out that she's raised in Westlake Hills.
She got out of her Porsche.
She got out of her Porsche car. Porsche. You pronounce it Porsche.
Oh, sorry.
She got out of her Porsche, and she, from Westlake Hills, where apparently she's from, and saw graffiti, and there's a homeless outreach right across the street, and she probably saw some Black people who help and feed people that were there, and was like, sketchy.
And clean up the neighborhood.
Right.
Also, by the way. Yeah.
Exactly. And she goes on to say that she knows that there's like really expensive houses there. No, you didn't. And then she goes on to say also that, but I'm just saying that gentrification has caused this place to have abandoned and neglected businesses. Again, where you don't know, even in your apology, the whole lot that Palomino is in is sold. Yeah. It's sold. I don't know if it's to a bank or it's going to become a bank, but we heard this last December. Yeah. So it's nothing's abandoned, nothing's neglected. They're vacated because the lot's sold. Yeah. So I just even get your facts right. Anyway, that's what's on my mind. It was hilarious. Honestly, it's one of the best weeks I've ever had. Just watching her get chewed up was the funniest thing ever.
Amazing.
It's always an option to shut the fuck up.
PSA.
So that was on my mind.
That's a good PSA.
That's a good PSA.
Leave it on that. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. That was quite long-winded.
Oh, no, that's great.
Anyway, we're starting segments, and we'll see how abridged we want to get that to go. Let's get into our topic, Charlie.
Let's get our mind
and or matter. I mean, it's a series of conversations Charlie and I have been having over our lives together.
Yes.
We've been together for about 15 years, and we, as couples do, you sit out on the porch and you have a little old fashioned and you just get a little more metaphysical and start talking about the big thing.
Yes.
Try to zoom out.
Yeah.
Totally. And we have been listening to the telepathy tapes.
Yes.
I have really had to train myself to stop saying the tism tapes.
You want to publicly tell everyone that you said that?
It's a term of endearment. I might be on the spectrum myself.
Seriously,
you'll make your own judgments as this podcast goes along. But the telepathy tapes, if you don't know what they are it's a podcast, and also I think there was
I don't know.
Was there a document? I don't know. Anyway, we listened to a podcast, and it's a series of episodes about people with autism who are mostly nonverbal. Right. I think almost all. Some of them have a slight verbalization, but most of them are nonverbal, and their telepathic abilities.
Yeah.
And it comes up in that podcast how there's a lot of doctors and scientists and neuroscientists involved with that podcast, and they speak about how in the scientific and even medical community, there's just a real shutout of anything that is not physical in the physical realm.
Not measurable by our man-made measures. And we found it really frustrating hearing them hitting that wall constantly when they're doing research. So they're basically proving that these non-verbal autistic kids, almost all, if not all, are telepathic. Mm-hmm. And so hundreds of parents have basically started finding this and coming together and being like, my kid too.
Parents,
teachers,
doctors.
But it's this thing
neighbors.
That's so taboo to talk about but it's taboo because we don't understand it. And that's what's so frustrating, is that it's been proven time and time and time again in laboratories. Like they've done tons and tons of very well-designed studies that kind of prove this beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt, right? Is that law or science? Whatever.
It should be both, I feel.
It seems unreasonable at this point to say that they're not telepathic with their, like, usually it's like with a loved one. Or with someone that they, or a teacher, like someone they connect with that is helping them,
And certainly with each other.
They
speak about how these mostly nonverbal, I want to say there are people who can speak a little bit, but people who don't, their primary way of communicating is not verbally.
Right.
But they all have described through their different methods of like typing and other. It's mostly just typing, right? What do they call it?
They call it spelling. They use these spelling boards. They point to letters in succession to spell words. Yeah, they spell things out. That's their way rather than like verbalizing. And they have all described being able to kind of tune into this general consciousness that they call the hill. Yeah. And they do that telepathically, and they can speak with each other or communicate, let's say. Right. Let's take speak out of the verbiage. They communicate with each other telepathically in this realm, if you want to call it that. And they can be in different countries. They've never met each other. These are not necessarily, some of them met there. Right. Which is met in some realm that we don't understand. Yeah. And I think what's really annoying to me is I'm always talking about how it's people who believe only in material reality, know, and they only believe in what we can measure and da-da-da. But beyond that, it's really actually just people who only believe in what we already know. Because maybe there is some material manifestation of this place or this realm that they're going to, or the way that they're telepathic with the people that they're telepathic with. we just don't know it. So it's not even really
we're not going to find it with this attitude.
It's so frustrating. I can't deal with it. I've told a few people about this, and it's like when you find out like this is pretty much like done and dusted, like they've proven that these people are
through the accepted scientific process. Right. I mean, like control tests and separating them, making sure their hands aren't being guided when they spell, like you name it, and they've done it, and they've absolutely tried to make sure they've gone through the absolute perfect scientific process. And these are scientists, okay? These are neuroscientists. These are people in the field. Right. And the people who are reporting this, by the way, have no reason to be making this up. Right. I mean, maybe one, but the sheer amount of people, like teachers, whatever, they have had their jobs threatened.
Yep. I mean, the main scientist that she talks to in the telepathy tapes had her license revoked when she released a book. They revoked her license based on the name of the book, right?
Yeah, what becomes confusing to us is science is the study of life, right? So you're supposed to study things, and you're to have curiosity and to discover, right? Yes. Or to observe things that already exist and to try to find out more about them. Right. So it's really frustrating to see some new information come through and people not want to go to the distance with it. So when Charlie was saying like, we should just accept this, I'm like, I think so. I feel pretty convinced, but I think the data seems really compelling. But it would be okay if you were to say, I'm not convinced. Sure. But I think what's happening instead is like, that's ridiculous.
You're right.
That to me is like, okay. Totally. This amount of evidence and scientific process by reputable people should not garner that answer. That sounds like the answer of someone who is dismissing something without curiosity and without cause.
It sounds like someone who believes dogmatically in something.
It sounds like a religion.
Exactly.
And like these are the rules and this is what we believe. This is what we believe, right?
Yes.
I don't know that it's not a set of beliefs for me. This is what we have discovered and what we can accept that we know so far. Exactly. And I think that's constantly changing, and we've been wrong before. There's a lot of stuff we don't understand. Like, so why is this not one of those things we don't understand? Like, we can all admit that there's no explanation for savant skills.
That is exactly it.
So why can some random kid who's never been to France speak French fluently? Like, why does that happen? Why are there these kids who are like insane at math, at like 5 years old? Like, what is that? Why can someone just look at a piano and just start playing it? What is that, right? So we don't understand it. So that should garner the curiosity to accept that there's something we don't get. Right. There's something that we're not privy to in our perception. Right. And we know that our perception is limited, by the way. Yeah. All scientists agree to that our perception is limited. Our brain does its little work auto-correcting things that we don't understand and giving us information that serves and holding information that doesn't. I mean, that can happen. Fear responses, pain responses, trauma responses. You're not always getting all the information in a sensory way because maybe it doesn't serve you in the moment, right? Yeah. And then we've also had the discoveries that matter acts differently when it's observed. Exactly. Processing that tells you how. Right. So what does that mean for us? I mean, it should say, what does that mean for us? You shouldn't want to hold on to your current, it shouldn't be a belief system.
Right. And
I was going to say hold on to your current belief system, but it shouldn't be a belief system.
Things like savant skills, it's just like, okay, I get space is super interesting, but why are we talking so much? Like every day you open your Facebook feed and it's like, we just discovered a new galaxy. It's like there are people who can speak languages and we don't understand why they can just all of a sudden speak them. Yeah. That's what we should run towards and start with an open mind, start looking into and trying to understand. But instead, because it seems so, it's like, why does that seem so much more unattainable than trying to understand like the distance that the universe is expanding. Like, I actually don't really give that much of a fuck.
Not yet. I just feel like there's so much to figure out here.
How far out that's right. Like,
we know it's big. Okay?
We figured it out. It's fucking huge.
It's like immeasurably big.
Like, so cool. Okay. It's getting bigger. Fine. Oh, no, just kidding. Actually, it's getting smaller. Okay. You don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's talk about this. But the reason nobody goes there is because it seems unreachable at the moment or whatever. There's less of a body of research on it to build upon. And this is, it's just like, it's an academia problem. It's like this woman getting her license revoked based on the name of her book.
And apparently a lot of them had that fear.
Right. And so people don't do it because they're afraid of the backlash. They're afraid of their career being jeopardized. And it's like, this is what science is supposed to serve. It's supposed to serve the things that we don't know and we don't understand. Yes.
And I understand if it was getting into a place and you don't feel like it's perfectly proven yet, and you just think you need more time and more cases. By the way, there's so many cases.
Yeah.
And you'd need that to like implement something in how you take care of autistic people or what have you. That's one thing. All they're really trying to do is understand it at this point. Yeah. So I think the need to shut it down, it speaks more about the people trying to shut it down than it does about the thing itself.
Exactly.
Because what about it is so offensive to you? Seriously. What about trying to see what's going on with these kids is so jarring? And that feels like it's pressing against something that you're having an emotional response to. Right. It doesn't feel logical to me.
Yeah, and
these are people who are supposed to peddle in logic, right? And you're talking about academia, but it's like there's no logical reason to freak out and shut this down at all. They're trying to figure out, how are these kids able to communicate with their parents? How are they able to communicate with each other? Why is that one able to understand languages it's never been exposed to? Right. That they've never been exposed to, right? And that's also something that they discovered with these nonverbal kids. Yeah. Some of them had savant language skills, obviously not verbalizing them, but understanding them, being able to write in them, read in them. They have no exposure to them. Neither have their parents. Yeah. And that can be proven easily. So things like that, it's, why are you not curious?
Yeah. And I think it's because that's where the materialism aspect comes in, is it feels too ungrounded in what they understand about matter and the observable, quote unquote, observable reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they can't see it. They can't see how a connection can happen. And they can't measure magnetic waves or what, like they're not figuring it out right away. And so they're like, well, this is obviously bullshit,
Which seems like poor practice, right? I mean, if you think about some of our biggest discoveries, whether you like them or not, like the atom bomb, this started with theory, so you couldn't necessarily see how that could exist.
Yeah.
It's someone's theory that they then turned into mathematics, which they then made material and boom, right?
Yeah.
So it started with theory, and you couldn't have shown me the atoms,
right?
Or what I'm not a scientist. I'm just fighting for my life here.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all watched
Oppenheimer.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell was going on in the conversations when it was theoretical. You couldn't have shown me it, but I would have trusted that scientists and the people exploring that data were onto something or not, but I'm not going to be like, no, it can't be a thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying words, but
I know exactly what you mean. It's like, people would have thought that was impossible to unleash that amount of energy, and especially that it's so much energy coming from such like a small thing, but or whatever. I guess it's like a chain reaction or whatever. I don't understand either.
Part of the genesis of a lot of that was probably savant skills, right?
Right, exactly. Well, I heard
Einstein apparently was on the autism spectrum. Right. People think that, and makes so sense. His theory probably came from a bit of a head start of just savant skills, just seeing and sort of understanding something inherently. The same way there's something about certain people with certain things, they just, even if you're not genius level, like I have an understanding of visual art that was a bit inherent. Like when I was a kid, I was just able to render, right?
Right.
And you can always see there's the kid that they're like, oh, draw a face. And, they're just
smiley.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And of course, I had my phase of that. I wasn't doing this when I was like 0 years old. But at some point, I've just realized that what you're drawing is not a face. What you're drawing is a series of colors and shades and shapes.
Right.
If you try to draw a mouth, it's less likely to look like one. I'm looking at yours right now, and I'm just seeing like it's just I would be drawing black triangles here, and then a white like lines. So anyway, maybe Charlie, you have this with music.
Absolutely.
To some extent.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's, as a music teacher of like, God, I can't believe it, but yeah, I'm going on like 20 years now. Like,
we're old.
We are so old. Anyway, like for a long time, I thought 100% of it would just be explaining how to do something, physically, materially, right? And for years, I'm just like, oh, I need to get better at explaining this. I need to get better at explaining this part of the technique. Oh, just this, maybe it's this thing that's missing. And it's just like over and over and over again. But more and more, as it's like one of those amazing, like slow reveals of knowledge, it's like, I feel like very recently I've kind of had that epiphany that it's not just in the physical way you do something. There's this leap of faith that students have to make in order to take something from like whatever, like a series of motions or just a sound that you want to make. You have to hear that sound that you want to make, and you have to fully believe and accept at some point, whether you've ever done it before or not. You just have to believe that you're going to do it. And you have to take this leap of faith when you're playing. Like you have to just do it.
Just make it happen.
It's
like you manifest it.
Absolutely.
Like that's kind of more
that's what manifestation.
When I was a kid, drawing was to me. It was like I wanted something to be, and then you just be it.
Right.
Be it all over the paper, right? And I don't know. Like it's interesting because you teach it, right? And I'm sure that that's a hard thing to describe because I don't think I know how I draw.
Right.
There have been phases where I'm trying to be more technical and whatever, and there's things you can learn. You can learn perspective and things that help a lot.
Yeah.
And I think those things aid anyone to be passable, right?
It's sort of learning how to see, right?
Yes, it's learning how to see, and a lot of how you would learn art becomes a little bit mathematical. I mean, you really are kind of you're looking at perspective and angles and all that stuff.
There's definitely math in how you learn music for sure.
Yeah, but I didn't learn art right? Until later. So when I was younger and I could just do it from aptitude, it really just was like, I want to make it here. And then I just did it, right? And that's something, you know, Charlie and I talk about a lot, is like these little things in your life where you feel like you bend matter.
Yeah.
Maybe just because you don't understand how you manifested something.
Right.
Like I'm a waiter, or server, I guess people say now. I don't care. Okay. But yeah, I bring the buffalo wings. But I have these moments where I'm just a person who doesn't like to make a lot of trips. And so I'm always trying to do these little things to like do everything at once. And sometimes that means I over promise or like over whatever. I take too many things at once. Right. So maybe I'm like carrying like glass water bottle in the crook of my arm, and I have like plates stacked like that are really badly stacked. And there's just something you can do if it's really important to do it, where you're like, it's not going to fall.
Yeah.
I'm not having it, you know?
Right.
And you know when it's like maybe the dining room is empty, or like you're working with a nice manager, where it just won't work. Yeah. You'll be like, oh, it's going to fall. And like you just don't believe it enough.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, I cannot drop this. That's one of the investors right there. That's my boss. This is a mean manager. It's going to look really stupid. I'm going to ruin my favorite shirt. And I'm just like, it can't fall. And it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the little magics that I can do and that I can identify. And you know when you have it and you know when you don't.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me of performing and like why it's important that kids do recitals, because when you perform, especially like early on, I mean, even I still have this to some level when I perform, you know, there's so much overthink that can go, and so much anxiety that can go into that, you know, and you get, and the moment, but right before you go on stage, it's like this fever pitch. And if you ask someone to like recite the notes that you were about to play, you would, there's no way you could do it. You know what I mean? Like, but if you sit down, when you sit down, you're not thinking anymore. Exactly. You're not able to think. You're freezing, like you're about to freeze. And you know that the worst thing you can do is freeze. You have to just do it. Yeah. And so you just have to do it. You
push through
and
something.
So you just start. And when you start, it starts to happen. And it's like, you're not doing it anymore. You're just like,
you're the conduit.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. You're Weekend at Bernie's. Yes. It's like, you're just telling your body to do it and hoping that your body does it right. And that's why you prepare. And that's why when I teach kids, I'm telling them they're teaching their body how to do something. You know what I mean? And then when you get up to really do it, your body is just does it. Yeah. And the more you overthink, then you're out. It's just never going to work if you're overthinking how to do something. Like, you have to, but in the process of learning it, it's that will to just make it happen. That moment where you just say, I'm going to get it right this time. You know what I mean? And then you get it right for the first time. And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then you do it again, and then you make a mistake. And then whatever, it's okay. But you just keep trying and keep learning that skill of just making it happen and letting it happen. And it's like,
it gets into your body. Like you said, if you just do it enough times, it takes on its own life in your cells. Yeah. Because, you know, if you're to believe, energy is eternal and everything is that, or matter, whatever you want to go, like atoms. These are actual scientific things. So they all kind of, they have their vibration, right? And so it's not all in the mind. Like we're tennis people, right? I'm very much of the school of no school of tennis. Like, I mean, you know, I picked up a racket with an instructor for the first time, right? So like there's that. Right. But you know, I never got virtuosic or anything about it. Like I was just playing with little kids at camp. And then when we started playing, I just very much wanted just to see what it'd be like to just start, like just do it, right? Yeah. Like, so we just got on the court and we hit and we got better and we got better. And I was always because I'm just doing this for fun. And I found that that's my favorite part of things is figuring them out. Like I'm a problem solving person. Like I don't identify as an artist. I'm someone who likes to make things. I like to figure things out. I like to just like take something and then it's something else, like transform things or whatever it is. Like I like to make jewelry. I draw and I paint. And so with tennis, I wanted that approach, like, because I tend to actually start to taper in my interest of something the more I get it. Yeah. If I feel like I can do this passingly, it doesn't have to be amazingly, then I'm like, all right, I get it. But the great thing about tennis is that will never happen on a regular basis. There are professional tennis players who wake up one day and can't serve. Can you imagine? Yeah. That's why it holds my attention for as long as, for the 4 years we've been playing it. And I still suck. So that helps. Right. So I've never actually gotten to the part where it's like I'm proficient. And I've just been really enjoying that feeling of just doing it and seeing what, like getting in going to the court. Yeah. Having a ball fly at me, see what my body does, correct it when it does it wrong or when it has a wrong reaction. I use a little bit of like watching other people play. I've heard pros talking to their students off to the side. Charlie sometimes gives me tips for his fresh eyes and like that can help. I won't accept it in the moment, as Charlie knows, but it'll put a little wrinkle in there. He'll be punished. Yeah. But it'll put a little wrinkle in my brain. I don't really want it to be in the front of my brain. I want it to get in my unconscious and I want to be able to access it when I need it. Yep. And I really do find that it works. And the feeling of bending matter happens a lot with tennis. It's you can decide that you can't miss a shot. You can decide that I'm going to be there. And it feels like completely like against physics that you were able to get there and that you were able to hit it and it was going to go over, you know?
Right.
I mean, less with me than maybe people who are better at it, but we just saw a crazy version of that.
Yep.
Like recently, Alcaraz played Sinner in Roland Garros, which is like French Open.
The two best new tennis players.
Number one and number two in the world right now. And they're both very young players, like so much ahead of them. It's going to be one of those like long rivalries that we love to see, like a
God willing,
like a Nadal.
It's already like that interesting. But this is the first time they'd ever played in a major. There are 4 tennis majors and they played in one. And this was the first time they met in a major like that. And it was, there was that one shot. This, you know, they've been playing for almost 5.5 hours, which is insane. Props to professional tennis players, by the way, because there is no other sport where anyone does that. But anyway, so they were, and Alcaraz hit the ball really close to the net while Sinner was really far from the net, and he had to run full speed. And it was like everyone was just like, there's no way he's getting to that. And especially at that point in the match, he'd been limping a couple points before, and it was like all of a sudden he just got there and the ball somehow, and we even watched in slow-mo, it
didn't look right.
It hit like the tips of his strings where like there's no bounce. He had no action on it.
He had no leverage.
No leverage.
He had no position in his legs because he's flying through. He was diving forward. So he doesn't have any foundation.
Nope.
So you could understand that he got to it. Yeah. Just get that. You could barely understand that he got to it to touch it with his racket at all. But he got the leverage to
how it even went over
put it over the net.
Seems impossible.
We don't understand. Yeah. I think he quantum leaped.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
think he leapt into a dimension where he got that shot, and we all came with him.
Right.
Through a sheer force of will. I mean, he lost
ended up losing
game
the
at
match,
the end of the day, but
that's
the match,
okay. Every point started to be like that at the end of the match too. Which by the way,
Alcaraz had a few of his own. I mean, it was wild.
Yeah, we haven't even like recovered from that.
Yeah,
like we had to leave the house right after, and it was like I was literally screaming after every point.
It was crazy.
It was so insane.
Yeah,
because it just kept getting better and better.
The sheer wills that were involved on that court, you could just see them absolutely like bending matter.
Right, you could say that about probably almost the last like 10 points of that.
Yeah,
it was
100%.
So insane.
Watching that one close up though, it just didn't look right.
It didn't even make sense.
Yeah. And we see plenty of shots. We watch a lot of tennis. We play a lot of tennis, and I'm like, that shouldn't have gone. How the hell did he get that over the net?
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like the laws of physics like are laws until they aren't. You know what I mean? Like until, and I feel like willpower has this little. It probably can't. You know, I'm not sure if I believe in people being able to like levitate things, although there are definitely reports of that.
Like telekinesis type
of stuff. But I do believe that there are like these little micro adjustments that willpower can make. I've definitely had tennis shots like that. I had one a couple weeks ago where I was like, wait.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Ball went over. Like I didn't even know. Same thing. I didn't even know how I touched it. And I was deep and I was just like, chopped at it and just like believed. I was like, no, I'm getting this ball.
Yeah.
I hit it and went over, and I'm just like, I almost like stopped because I was like so confused.
I think I've definitely noted shots of yours where I'm like, what? Like, how'd that go through my racket? Meanwhile, if you saw tape, it'd be like, Yasmin is way too close and like never got back. And I'm like, I don't know how it happened. And you just see me being like chicken winging and like, never moving my feet.
Yeah. But
I agree that I don't know if I'm ready to talk about telekinesis like from a
oh my god,
but I would need to see an autism tapes level of research about it. Oh my god, here I go again, me and my tism tapes. I just think it has more of a ring to it. Anyway, the telepathy tapes, I would need to see that level of like research about it, and I don't know that I have seen that about telekinesis, so I don't know, but I do agree there's like a little bit of latitude,
right?
In I'm not even going to call it reality. It's just our perception.
Yeah.
There's things that we can shift about matter around us and how we perceive it.
Right.
And I think anyone who's spent any time doing any psychedelics can see a little bit more in the warehouse when that's going on. And I try to take note of those moments. Even if I'm not the person on the trip, I like to hear what people are saying in their trips, because I'm like, I think, we have our functional reality, and I think it exists because we all play a role, and we're supposed to play that role. You watch bees or ants, and they're all going around doing their industrious little thing. And I think a lot of perception and consciousness can maybe sometimes get in the way of your little ant role, right?
Yeah.
And we have our little ant role. Yeah. I don't know what it is, and I'm not sure if what we're doing is potentially. Sly was lemming like crazy over there. He's doing his whole move. It's super cozy. I don't know that we're supposed to know the scope of it any more than, worker bee is supposed to know the scope of what the hell's going on in that hive. I think they just know what they're supposed to be doing. But I think there are ways to expand by curiosity your understanding of perception.
Well, I'm obsessed with the drawing metaphor you brought up earlier. I really love, it's really profound to me. If you're just drawing the weird, cartoonish idea of a cat, or a face, then it's not, you're not actually looking at something. And it's such a quantum leap between that cartoon shape and the actual looking at the detail that is literally, and where does the shadow begin and where does it end? You can drive yourself crazy learning to draw, trying to figure out where the actual
where's the light coming from.
Yeah, but also just where does the object start and then the backgrounds.
Right. And that's when you really have to almost blur your eyes and don't think of it as background versus.
Right.
I almost wish I could teach kids art, because I feel like I got that on some cellular level, and then I was untaught it by an art teacher who was teaching me art like math. And God bless her, it worked for lots of people. It didn't work for me. Right. It almost made me obsessive and confused me, and it took me out of shit I already knew.
I think of there's an analogy to that in music too, because sometimes if you really love a piece of music and you're like, oh, I can't wait to learn it. I'm going to learn this. This is my favorite piece of music of all time. Then you learn it, and then you spend hours and hours.
You take it into parts,
dissecting it, which you have to, to get each little part. And then once you're finally able to play it a little bit, and usually not so bad, but sometimes a little bit of that magic can go away. Yeah. Because you've just over analyzed it or over mathed it. But hopefully then hopefully one day you'll just sit down to play that piece. Yeah. And it'll be new to you again, because if you're in just the right state of mind or whatever. But it's
You've observed me getting back into painting and drawing. I did it a lot as a kid, and then again, I don't want to just blame these art teachers. I think also just some kind of undiagnosed OCD makes it sort of hard when I decide that I want to do something well, and I can get obsessive about it, and it can kind of ruin creative flow. And it's really helped me to think of myself as someone who just likes to tool around and figure things out and be a problem solver and create stuff than it does to think of myself as being someone who's trying to draw or paint. Right. And in this reemergence of this hobby, I've really not liked to have the thing in front of me. Yeah. I like to take the impression, and Charlie's seen that I did this when we were in the woods and we were walking, and I saw a way that light was coming through the trees, and I wanted to take a photo and be able to glance at it and then just go nowhere near that picture and just paint it from the feeling. Right. And then if I am trying to paint something that I'm looking directly at, it's important to think of it not as, you're not going to be able to paint a tree. Right. By being trunk green, leaves green, or trunk brown, leaves green, right? That's not true, by the way. There's going to be shadows where your tree's black. There's going to be areas, I'm looking at a tree out the window right now, that are white because the way the sun is shining them, the leaves themselves, you can't even see the definition of them. So if you try to draw a leaf shape, it's not what that looks like right now. Yeah, it looks like a shock of different colors. Yeah. There's white where the sun's hitting them. There's yellow. So you just need to look at what you're looking at. Right. And I think we've categorized it into what we call a tree. Right.
But then you're not.
That's not what you're looking at.
You're not seeing a tree. If you're just naming it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually like,
It's a bit of a 2D.
I'm
thing.
so happy we made 50 minutes without mentioning Carl Jung. I almost made
he
it.
Was but here. He was like,
I'm obsessed with Carl Jung, and that's something he would call like the nothing buts. That's nothing but a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see the tree, and it's like maybe it's the most beautiful tree you've ever seen. Maybe it's the most boring tree you've ever seen. But whatever. It's like there really is no boring tree. There's just like this amazing, fucking, never-endingly interesting, complex web of all that is.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're able to really see it, then it's always interesting.
Yeah.
But I think there's something about, especially just like urbanization and like chopping the world up into like streets and building houses that all have perfectly right angles, that like,
and labeling them
and putting numbers on them, and that it's like it really fucks with our perception of this like alive earth. Like we're gridding it up and chopping it up, and really like taking away from the life of it by over categorizing it, overly naming it, and overly simplifying it and calling it nothing but a house, nothing but a tree,
when it's really like its own whole ecosystem.
And that's
about what is inside of a tree, the atoms that make up a tree. If you think about when you cut a tree, the trunk and all the rings and the roots, and
goes
just
on
a tree
forever.
Is kind of a crazy thing to say.
Exactly.
And we would know this if we're on mushrooms, right?
You would know. You would definitely know.
What we're trying to do is know this when we're not on mushrooms.
To explain to you what it's like to be on mushrooms.
And like you could take a leaf off a tree and you could paint a humongous mural of it and it would still be endlessly, insanely interesting.
Exactly.
But way too much concentration for me.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying my paintings this big.
I love that. I think it's cool.
But that's definitely an area where I'm like, I don't know why I got that.
Right.
I think there are lots of kids that just like, they just look at math and like, I'm not that kid. Right. And the lack of ability to explain savant skills,
it's mind-blowing, right?
An area where like we might need to accept some metaphysics here, or absolutely. I don't even want to even categorize it that way. It's just part of the physical world that we can't measure, like you say.
Right. Or like I've kind of lately just been thinking about trying to think, you don't need to believe in you don't even have to call it spiritual or metaphysical. Just be so excited and so interested in all that it is that we do not know.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what I call like the transcendent.
That's so well put.
Because that is miraculous. That is transcendent. All that we don't understand, that is a huge, that is infinite. That's the ever expanding infinite universe that like we don't, I don't know.
Right. I'm always interested in people's like reactions around things, right? The reactions of the scientists that just don't want to deal with this, this telepathy thing, and they just want to shut it down right away.
Which maybe is a savant skill, right?
Which maybe is a savant skill, exactly. Which is a weird word we have for things that we don't understand why people know
how they can do it.
They can do it. So I do find it interesting when I hear something that tells us that science doesn't know something.
Yeah.
I know that was a challenging
I know what you mean.
Sentence. Yeah. I'm excited about it.
So
like when I heard that they don't know why a bumblebee can even fly. Like they don't understand how that it can happen. Like they don't get the gravitate. Like it doesn't make sense that it can be buoyant. That to me is not like, oh no, why? Like what? I don't want to like shut that down. I'm like, oh my God, that means we don't know something.
Exactly.
How is it doing it? To me, that creates wonder. It creates curiosity. And I do see how in other people it seems to create this emotional thing of like, they don't like that. Right. They don't like not being able to explain that. I'm excited not to be able to explain it because it means, oh my God, what else don't we know?
Yeah.
What else could we find out?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, human potential is just a constantly moving target.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking about sports and we're talking about, like tennis, like these two, you ask the experts, these two people believe are better than the last big three, Rafa, Nadal, Roger Federer, and Djokovic, who were all, Novak Djokovic, who were all, it seemed like they came around and it was like, how could tennis ever be better? Yeah. And now this Roland Garros happens and it's like probably the best match that's ever happened. These guys are making shots that seem even more impossible than the shots that seemed so impossible when those guys were playing. And it's like, that's what's so exciting about being alive. Yeah. You can, if you're just lame if you're not excited by what we don't understand. Like,
yeah. I mean, let's definitely say like, I think that this side of things probably feels better. Yeah. I think wanting things to just be as they are and being nervous about them changing, as a person who like sometimes doesn't like a lot of unexpected plan changes and can have trouble with change, which I can, I'm a Taurus and also just whatever I am, a Yasmin. I can have a little bit of difficulty with that, but for some reason, not in the area of what we know about the world, Right. So I'm saying that I can have trouble with change, to have some empathy for people who maybe are having difficulty wanting to expand their worldview. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily change what's going to happen. And I think maybe that would help people want to accept more knowledge. Knowledge isn't immediately action, because we understand that people have telepathy. It doesn't mean that they get to run the country. I don't know what you think is going to happen. Why are we scared? I'm not sure. Nefarious things can happen with all kinds of things, right? But they can also just really not. And, it could just be a way to get kids who have had a real hard time on this earth understood, studied, and so we can figure out how to make them happier and incorporate them more in our society, right? Exactly. That seems like a win-win.
And maybe learn something from them.
Definitely learn something. I want to know about I want to get up on that hill.
I've already learned. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I've already learned something just from listening to this podcast.
It kind of sent me on this whole the manifestation trajectory. Yeah. Just hearing them kind of interact with this consciousness almost like it's a server, right? Yeah. I'm like, well, what does it hurt? Right. And I'm a person who comes from like, why not? So let me see what I can do with my brain to manifest different things in my reality. Right. I mean, all that it could do, if it doesn't do that, is just give me a little bit of wonder and, put positive thoughts in my head.
And focus towards orienting yourself towards the things that you want. Like if you're, there's
even
no
if it just means I end up just accomplishing them in a physical way. Sure. Because I'm tricking myself into believing that I'm accomplishing them in a metaphysical way, whatever. I mean, it seems like a win-win situation to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the attitude. We're just patting ourselves in the back at this point. Is that what we're awesome. Doing? Yeah, right. And that's why we're awesome. And that's the end of the podcast. Actually, we are getting to that time.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah, I actually really did like what you said. About curiosity and just remaining open and understanding that it's an exciting thing. Yeah. That there's so much more to know.
Right.
Just how could that ever be bad?
Yeah. Y'all can study the ever expanding universe ad infinitum forever. You can tell me about all the like Delta Sector 9, 2AX, 5G, whatever you're like really creatively naming stars. Like that's fine. Yes. Congratulations. Like I'll make it my Wi-Fi password, but like meanwhile I'm just going to be over here like excited about all this cool shit that's going on Earth that we don't understand. Like that's what interests me, and I really hope that science takes that on a little bit more.
Takes a scientific approach and wants to be the study and observation of life.
I hope science becomes more scientific and less religious.
Yes. Well, I think if we thought that, imagine if this attitude was taken towards, could we ever fly?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Right. Imagine, how would we do that? We can't do that. Right. So if this dogmatic attitude that is being put towards things like telepathy and metaphysical, just things in general, meaning things that aren't material, then how would we have accomplished a lot of, like, you wouldn't have your phone, you wouldn't have your car. So like maybe be on the side of discovery and a little bit of suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
There are people with insane amounts of intelligence, or people using more of their brain than you are, or areas of the brain that they can use and that they can't use other areas.
Exactly.
And just, it's all a great resource. Someone like Einstein, I'm sure, was terrible to talk to in many ways,
Right.
but look what he could
Look what he accomplished,
come up with, and what we could do with it too. It's like understanding
exactly.
gravity has so much to do with like why we can fly planes and whatever the heck else. I'm not even going to try with this because I don't know what I'm talking about.
We know your depth.
The more words I say in this area, the more ignorance I'm going to be showing. I'm not an idiot savant, just an idiot. But I'm excited to be the biggest idiot I will ever be.
Yes. Perfect.
All right. Well,
all right. Thanks for having me on your podcast, wife.
You're welcome, husband. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know why. 69.
All right.
Anyway.
Adios.
Bye.